Here's a few movies to check out this week, currently on Netflix Instant. Documentary, Atari, Game Over. During the video game crash of the mid-'80s, Atari had so many copies of their failed game, E.T., that the rumor was they loaded them into the back of dump trucks and deposited them in a New Mexico landfill. A Hollywood screenwriter, Zach Penn, got in touch with the guy who ran the landfill, and they wanted to do a documentary and see if they could discover if this really happened. They wanted to dig into the landfill and find copies of the cartridge. Since the rumor was that they dumped literally thousands of copies of the game, they figured that they should be able to uncover at least a few. The problem was this happened decades ago, so there was other trash that got dumped on top of it, and it was just a matter of finding where in the landfill this would have been. It's really good because they have interviews with people now, the biggest one being Howard Scott Warshaw, who was the guy who programmed the game. They talk to him now, and they show pictures of him back then, and he offers a lot of old stories about Atari, about the way that they ran things, and about how it was just such a party atmosphere back then. They were making money hand over fist, and the programmers were basically living like rock stars. It's 66 minutes long. You probably know how it all ends up, but it's still really interesting to see. It's a nice time capsule of Atari during the 80s. Action, The Running Man. Another one of my favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. Based off the Stephen King short story, it's about a dystopian future where they take criminals and put them into a live-action life-or-death game. Everybody in the movie is excellent, but having Richard Dawson as Killian, the head bad guy, is just fantastic. He's this beloved game show host in reality, and having him play an evil game show host in the movie was just genius. Comedy, American Pie, The Naked Mile. If you enjoyed the American Pie films, there's a pretty good chance that you're probably going to enjoy this. This is the second spin-off sequel of the American Pie main series. Each one of the spin-off movies follows a different relative of Stifler. Eric Stifler's in college and finds out about a yearly event called the Naked Mile, where a whole bunch of college students get completely naked and they go on a marathon. Yes, it's very stupid. Yes, the plot basically is there to tie together various gross-out humor, but I have a soft spot for that. I grew up with the teen sex comedies like Porky's, and this stuff's funny to me. WTF Rubber. I haven't done one of these in a long time because there hasn't really been anything that far out there that I felt would apply to the WTF tag. Rubber most certainly fits that bill, though. It's a movie that a lot of people aren't going to like, simply because it's just very out there. It's about a sentient telekinetic tire that's roaming around the countryside and blowing shit up with its mind. Initially, you're thinking that it's going to be something more like Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, but they try to play it straight, and they try to make it very pseudo-intellectual. There's a cop who's talking directly to the audience, and then they actually have the audience watching the movie while the movie's going on. There's this opening monologue that's talking about the different weird things that happen in movies and tries to explain them in a way that doesn't really make sense. A very bizarre, weird-ass movie that a lot of people aren't going to like. That's all I got for this week. I'll see you next time.